My name is Maureen Haney, and I am a program manager for the Tutor.com government programs. We've had a lot of feedback from all of the communities that we serve about parents being a little stressed out and looking for some resources. So many of you, some of you on here may not have access to the Tutor.com program, but many of you may, which is great, but Tutor.com will not be the focus of the presentation today. This is something that's open to everyone and anyone who's looking for some advice. And at Tutor.com, we have a plethora of experts behind the scenes, like our presenter today, who have years of experience working with students. So this is an opportunity to use our powers for good here and share some of this knowledge with you. And on that note, I would like to introduce Winona Young, who is a mentor manager on our Tutor.com instructional team. Winona?
Hello, thank you so much, Maureen, and hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. As Maureen stated, my name is Winona Young, and I work as a mentor manager for Tutor.com. And my role at Tutor.com includes a variety of different things. Primarily, I support mentors and tutors as they work to create sound educational experiences for students across the country that use our service. I also work to create resources for students and tutors, and I work to support our client services team in endeavors to bring educational information and opportunities to students and parents, such as this webinar. Just a bit about myself. In the eyes of my family, I'm a rock star. Here's a picture of my family. You'll hear me refer to the teenagers in this webinar quite often. I'm a wife to a disabled Navy vet who served in both Desert Storm and Desert Shield. I'm a mom to two teenagers who absolutely adore me, except when I'm actually parenting, like reminding them to get something done. Little do they know that 15 years of teaching high school math, 2 years of adjunct professorship, 2 years of coaching teachers, traveling to present to teachers and students across the nation, writing curriculum for the Georgia Department of Education, grading AP exams for the College Board, traveling to track meets, basketball games, band concerts, and volleyball tournaments, banking, doing laundry. You get the idea. All while trying to run a separate business and earn another degree has worn me slap out. And now here comes quarantined homeschool. My teenagers are overjoyed to be at home with teacher mom, not, but I'm here to provide you with resources to not only help you navigate academic time with your darlings at home, but also to help you preserve your sanity, which is vitally important with little ones staring at you as you try to get something done. Otherwise, you end up in a situation like this mom, where you're trying to work and your four-year-old is dressed as Spider-Man and perched on a kitchen table asking, "Can you hear me breathing?" This is day 6 of this mom's quarantine log. I'm sure you would have similar stories to share. As I said, I'm a busy wife and mom, and we all have responsibilities to others and to ourselves. And added to the typical hustle and bustle, we now have our children at home with us, waiting in anticipation for us to direct them. Or if they're like my middle schooler and high schooler, just wishing mom would lighten up. They only appreciate the teacher mom when they really need her. As one who certainly empathizes with you, I want to help you out today by helping you develop strategies for organizing learning environments for your school-age children, to help you discover engaging activities that are appropriate for at-home learning, and to recognize strategies for preserving sanity. Again, that is key for the adults in the home during this time. So let's talk about the win just a little bit. What's important now? Lou Holtz, who you may know as the former coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team, used this idea to help his players focus on the present. Amid this pandemic, it can be difficult to accept what is happening in our communities. It is even more difficult to help our children understand why this is happening. And likely the most difficult of all is trying to adjust to our school-age children learning from home. Whether instruction is available directly from their teachers or they're working solo, parents are now more responsible than ever for making sure children are getting the job done. Parents across the nation are stressed. From my days as a classroom teacher, a parent, and even a grad student, I can tell you that stress impedes learning. When I'm helping my daughter with math and I'm stressed, she shuts down. If she's stressed, she shuts down. So a running theme throughout this webinar will be the win. What's important now? What do I focus on? How do I make sure everyone is accountable? What about my own responsibilities? What about my sanity? Can I just lock myself in my room and wish this will all just go away? These are all questions you may have. Let's discuss how you can organize physical space and time, use no-tech and high-tech options to keep your children engaged, while again, preserving your own sanity. So what's important now? Remember, no stress. Chocolate and red wine are widely known stress reducers. So alleviating our fears is vitally important right now. We cannot run out of chocolate or wine. Away with no chocophobia and no vinophobia, Instacart to the rescue. You'll need one or both. If your creative child pulls one of these stunts from a parent who posted on social media, my 8-year-old just yelled, "Oh no, the toilet is smoking." My wife and I ran to the bathroom to find this. It's just day 4 of homeschool. But that's okay because you can get creative too. So if you see my kids locked outside today, mind your business. We're having a fire drill. Smoking toilets and fire drills may become the norm, but no matter what is or what is not happening in your household or your community, just know that it's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay to not know how to homeschool your own child. It's okay to not know how to work from home. It's okay to give kids more screen time than usual. It's okay to make a colorful daily schedule or just to wing it. It's okay to magically not feel motivated to work out at home or even to take on a new hobby. It's okay to not feel okay. This is not normal for any of us, so please be kind to yourself. And don't cry, at least not in front of the kids. Besides, there's an apparent shortage of toilet paper these days. And here's a socially distanced hug from me to you. So what can we expect from our students who are learning online? Teachers, students, parents across the country, everyone is trying to adjust to this new normal of full-time digital learning. Unless you're the homeschool premier parent, we are all in uncharted waters, at least to this depth. And if you are the homeschool premier parent, then please let's talk after this webinar because I could definitely use some tips. Seriously though, we all need time to adjust. Teachers are adjusting to delivering instruction online and students are adjusting to distance learning. So one thing to think about is that our children have significantly more freedom in their day than the structured school day. The level of accountability is much higher than before because the teacher's not physically present to monitor daily completion of classwork. Our children have not been left on their own to figure out how to manage their time to get it all done, and now they are. For those who lack time management or the discipline to just sit and work, this could lead to procrastination, which is something that we want to help our darlings avoid. Fortunately, there are actions we can take as parents to ensure that our children remain engaged in learning. More than anything, our children need to stick to routine. A schedule similar to what they experienced in school may, notice I said may, help maintain structure in their day and preserve a bit of your sanity, super important. Be sure that the schedule allows for schoolwork, physical activities, socializing with friends or family, whether that's phone calls, video calls, text messages, and make sure there's room for fun. And if that schedule falls apart and your kid ends up playing Xbox at 10 o'clock in the morning like mine, that's okay too. Physical activity is still important. Whether it's YouTube yoga or walk around the block, find something that can involve the entire family. Earlier this week, I went outside and hit the volleyball with my daughter. I even chatted with neighbors from the other side of the street, of course. But be sure to allow the children time to relax, watch TV, play video games, even if it's not what you would normally allow. Adding elements of fun makes it easier for us to all escape from the reality of what is happening around us, if only temporary, and that's important now. We have a couple of great resources that outline how to discuss COVID-19 and quarantine with kids of all ages. Let's just take a look at one of those really quickly. So this is the Kane Health Department's website out of Kane County, Illinois. I'm showing you this website initially, and what we're going to do is click on this link here, but this resource is available to you in the resource page that you can download later. When you click on this link, what you'll find is just a flyer here that breaks down the idea of the COVID-19 pandemic across age groups. So 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 14, 15 to 18. Also helps with parents, making sure that we take care of our own emotions, self-care is also important during this time. Besides, if the schools are closed for too long, the parents are going to find a vaccine before the scientists, and that would be a surefire win. Let's talk a bit about physical space. Physical space is really important to learning. You want to make sure that your child feels comfortable in whatever space that they're setting up to do their work at home. Whether you have a study room, an office, a kitchen table, our children need a similar place to work from, a consistent place to work from daily. For younger children, you can make it a family affair, everyone working at the kitchen table. Or maybe you set up a smaller office that's a play table and a chair in your own at-home office. Bean bags, the sofa in the den, or outside on the deck or patio can also all serve as great physical spaces. Just be sure that your child has whatever they need for the day, whether that's pencils, pens, markers, crayons, paper, rulers, etc. Make it creative, make it fun. Invite the children to help set up the space. This gives them a sense of ownership and pride. Honestly, though, my teenagers prefer to work in their rooms, which I really don't mind. I just make sure that I follow up on their progress each day. Otherwise, they would earn A's in Netflix and Minecraft and F's in everything else. Not a good look. Let's take a look at a few sample schedules. Alexandria City Public Schools in Virginia is one of our clients, and one of my colleagues has a child in school in that district. They have provided a few sample schedules to follow. So the first one is the sample elementary school schedule. It has, of course, waking up, some morning physical activity, their academic time, their creative time, lunch, chores, quiet time, fresh air. But notice academic time here ends at 4 o'clock and the rest of the time is theirs. That's elementary. Here's a suggestion for middle school and high school. Their day starts at 7:30. You have the same type of thing, breakfast, advisory. You have it broken down by core subjects, and their day ends down here about 2:35, 3:15. No matter what type of schedule you choose, one thing I want you to notice, or understand, I should say, the schedule doesn't have to start at 7, and it doesn't have to end at 3. If you know that your child can only give focused attention for an hour at a time, give an hour at a time and just include frequent breaks. Make sure that a variety of activities are included. Be flexible and just allow for all the other areas that we mentioned in the previous slide. There's also the option to create a more visual schedule for younger children where they can just look by pictures and they can tell what's to be expected for the day. A link to this resource has also been made available for you. As previously mentioned, just make sure that you download a copy during the webinar, or you can always request a copy afterwards. And guess what? If none of those schedules work for you, just do what I do. Do your best to keep the kids alive while you work from home and pray they don't start fighting while you're on a conference call. That's what's important right now. There are tons of resources available to parents, even some where the entire family can get involved. Here are just a few of the resources that are available. The PDF that you download will contain many more to help whet your appetite and give you some ideas on how to proceed. Just some information on a few of these. Khan Academy offers online lessons and practice for all ages. This is good if you need to refresh your memory on how to teach your child something. ABC's Mouse is an educational website for kids from ages 2 to 8. A subscription is required. However, some school districts have been provided with free access during this time. So if available, or if you want to find out if it's available, be sure to reach out to your child's teacher for it. Scholastic Learning is another great resource for kids pre-K through 8th grade. There are links available for a parent page as well as a learning at home page launched just in the time of this pandemic. I've also seen so many different virtual options on social media, like virtual field trips, for example, the Cincinnati Zoo or the San Diego Zoo. There's museum tours that can be streamed. Broadway shows are being streamed for free. Libraries are offering free online checkouts. I even watched a concert that one of my favorite artists gave live on Instagram and attended Club Quarantine on Instagram Friday night and danced for hours. I mean, literally, a DJ is playing music for hours at a time from all eras. It's a really nice way to unwind. Whatever you choose, make it fun, make it interesting. You have the option to provide your child with a virtual experience that they otherwise may have never had. And speaking of Instagram, don't forget about social media outlets. Here's some pages and groups that you can follow. Lots of great information are being shared by strangers and friends from across the globe. Tap into this gem, whether it's Facebook, IG, or Twitter. There's tons of information available. And here's a list of some subject-specific resources just to get you started. This graphic is included in the resources download. The resource page also contains a list of iPad apps and Google Chrome extensions for our students with special needs or who just struggle to learn. Be sure to download again if you're watching live, and if not, you can always request at the end. I've shared lots of resources so far, and you're probably thinking, this chick is crazy. She was supposed to relieve my stress, not add to it. How am I supposed to decide on the best resource to use? Where is my chocolate and wine? Well, you're right. I am crazy. I'm a mom working from home with 2 teenagers in the house. But all of that aside, I feel your pain. The truth is, you have to know your limitations and those of your children. There are different types of resources. Some are static, where the child sits in front of a website or a video, takes in information, and spits back out information in the form of some type of practice or activity. Resources like a Google search, iExcel for math, Khan Academy, Scholastic are such resources. They're great, especially if you need a refresher on how to help your child multiply using the area model. Wait, Winona, what? Yeah, they're doing that now. Area model. Such resources are good for children who are more self-directed learners or they need to practice like crazy. Motivation is external, usually gamified in some way, like earning badges or stars or points toward being able to win a certain prize on the game. We have other resources, however, that are more targeted. These allow us to get help with a particular question or problem, like how to find the horizontal asymptotes of a rational function. That's my math teacher coming out at me. Options such as phoning a friend, creating a virtual study group, or reaching out to your local mom community or a teacher directly all offer the benefit of collaborative learning and discussion. Tutor.com is also one of these targeted resources, but they all provide motivation through personal interaction and encouragement. Your child may need static resources at some times, targeted at others. Again, what's important now? Being flexible and watching for cues to help you make the best decision for your children. Okay, those are all high-tech options. You may be in a situation where there's only one computer for the family to share or one tablet split between 2 or more children. Here are some low-tech ideas. This is where some low-tech ideas can kind of come into play. For example, you can organize the pantry or have the children organize the pantry. Have them read nutrition labels. They're practicing reading, they're gaining some fluency, maybe they're gaining some information about the type of calories that they're putting in their body, the type of nutrients that they're putting into their body. Artistically, you can have your child create a color wheel using colored pens, crayons, or markers. There, maybe you can do a small little lesson about primary colors or tertiary colors or blending colors like red and yellow making orange or blue and yellow making green. You can be creative with your physical activities. Create an obstacle course in the backyard or even in the dining room. Set up some relay races, freeze tag, anything that can help the kids get physically moving. You can have them create artwork to describe a lesson or just for fun. Or if there's a story that they've been reading, have them write a new ending to that story. For younger children, have them count objects as they're put away. One option is to have them watch a documentary and write a summary paper. My daughter's been studying revolutions in her AP World History class, and she was intrigued by the Haitian Revolution, specifically by Toussaint Louverture, who led the revolution. So I suggested that she find a documentary on Haiti's history and talk about how Haiti is still trying to rebound from some of that now and write a summary paper. You should have seen the eye roll that she gave me. I did not know if her pupils would ever resent her. Another option, one day last week, after I'd been working from my desk all day, and my able-bodied son and daughter had been sitting around for most of the afternoon, they asked me what was for dinner. I had to constrain my own eye roll and a few discouraging words. I had several in store. Instead, I steadied my breathing and asked them to check the freezer and take out whatever items they wanted and plan the menu for the evening. They are now my official meal planners. So take that, HelloFresh. Okay, now we've got the resources. So you may be thinking, I'm no teacher. How do I know that my child is really doing his or her work and learning something along the way? In some school districts, teachers are delivering online instruction full-time. Through the use of various apps, teachers are checking in digitally with the students. In other cases, teachers may be available by email to answer questions from the students. My kids have a blend of both. But there may be some school districts out there that had to move so suddenly to close school and move to digital learning that there was barely time to put a digital plan in place. Whichever situation your family is facing, there are a few ways to check in and hold your child accountable. You could just ask questions like, what did you finish today? What questions do you need to ask your teacher? You can ask questions that provide the child opportunities to demonstrate learning. Can you teach me how to, and then fill in the blank? And listen, parents, it really doesn't matter if you have no clue what they're explaining. Just nod and smile and say, great job at the end. We're really good at that. The main idea is to get your child talking about what they're learning. What was the best part of that lesson for you? And that may not necessarily be some big academic answer. It might be funny that one of their classmates said something. Their teacher may have dressed up in a funny costume, and that was the best part for them. The key is to get them talking to you about what they're doing. Asking such questions not only reinforces learning, but also lets the child know that you have expectations for them to learn during this time. For younger children, you can have an older sibling teach them to tie their shoes. Full disclosure, I actually paid a summer camp counselor to teach my son how to tie his shoes when he was younger. Bad mom? Some may think so. I think it's smart mom. Very little stress for me. But you could do things like help your younger children learn their phone numbers. Just take a look at this picture. It's 12 paper plates set up in the form of your typical phone. Teach the child their phone number. They can practice touching the plates and dialing their number. That's a really novel, low-tech idea. Or maybe you take one paper plate and set up an analog clock and teach your child how to tell time. That's definitely a lost art in our digital age. Whatever it is, again, be creative, make it fun, and please don't compare yourself to the craft moms on Pinterest. Use what you have and work together. We got this. We can do this. And though we're practicing social distancing, there are ways that we can serve others in our community right from our homes. This idea is great. My husband's grandmother is in a nursing home out of state, and we were actually planning a trip down to Florida for spring break to visit her. It's a bummer that we can't make this trip now, but we know she will appreciate letters, cards, pictures from us until we can see her again. So whether it's someone you know or even strangers, I'm sure any residents of nursing homes will appreciate the gesture all the same. And actions like these can help to bring the family together. Let's hear from Ben as he recaps how his adventures in homeschool are going. It is not going good. My mom's getting stressed out. My mom is really getting confused. We took a break so my mom could figure this stuff out. And I'm telling you, it is not going good. So notice that Ben is struggling here. They have expectations of us that we may be unable to meet. We're not their teachers. They may say, but my teacher said do it this way. And we may be feeling, well, your teacher's not here, is she? Just pop a chocolate, take a sip, you'll be okay. Keep it light. Focus on the win. What's important now? Maybe now is the time for Ben to have some outside time so mom can recover. Listen, this is very important. Under no circumstance should we let our darlings eat us out of house and home. Have you seen the grocery stores lately? My husband always talked about midnight rations from his Navy days. It's a strange idea to civilians, but we can implement this in our own homes. One idea that I'm sure you've seen on social media is to put snacks out for the day for each child, complete with their own cups, because, I mean, who wants to wash 40 cups at the end of the day? Not me. The caption reads something like this: when the snacks are gone, they're gone. Well, for my teenage son, that would likely be by 9 a.m. Another option is to add snack time into your schedule. You can show your darlings what's available for snack on that day and let them know when snack time will be. Maybe 9:30 is juice and crackers, and 3 o'clock is apples and chips, and 7 o'clock is Rice Krispie treats and Oreos. If the schedule gets interrupted, no problem. If they want Oreos for first snack instead of juice and crackers, be flexible. Remember that you're going for the win these days. Is it really important to choose that battle and have a toddler or teenager tantrum on your hands? I think we all agree that it's not. This schedule also provides some sense of security to your children, knowing that food will be available throughout the day. That's one less thing they have to stress about. And remember that stress impedes learning. So flexibility again for the win. And when all else fails, put everyone down for a nap, even if only for 30 minutes. Necessary adult peace sessions help keep tension low in the house. So, what do we want you to walk away from this webinar knowing? 1, focus on the win. What's important now? 2, there are tons of resources available to you to help create engaging learning activities for your child. And 3, it's okay. Don't compare yourself to other families. Do what works for your family. Your sanity will thank you. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at one of these email addresses. If you're watching the recording, you can also use these email addresses to request a PDF of the resources. So thank you for your time. That officially ends the webinar, but we will take time now to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Winona. So we will take your questions as you type them in. We're gonna give you guys a moment to be able to type those in. I do have a couple for you here. The first one, so how do you get young kids engaged with technology for learning versus watching a TV show or watching a show?
That's a really great question. And let me tell you that the creators of all of these apps that are out now understand child psychology. They understand attention span. They understand what makes the young child's mind works. They understand what engages the child. My recommendation would be to choose some apps that have that animated type play to it, where the kid doesn't really know that they're learning along the way. So if there's an app, for example, that reads out to them while the story is playing out, they're reading. Or if there's an app that lets the child choose a particular character to play in the story, now they're exploring. Or if there's an app that works on phonics and it's gamified in some way so that if they spell, say, cat correctly, then they get certain points along the way. All of those type apps are geared toward kids to make learning fun and really kind of unassuming. So I would say search for those types of apps.
Great, thank you. Then I did get a question about where you can find the recording to view it and to share it with people. We will be sending out the recording of this webinar to anyone who registered and attended. So you will all get an email tomorrow with the webinar recording, and we will also put the handouts will be there as well in that email, just in case you were unable to access them. Okay, so I have another question.
Okay.
How to handle teenager in the quarantine time to keep him engaged?
Okay, so this one, you have to know that I'm answering from the perspective of teacher mom, and it's hard to separate teacher mom from mom. But I do have 2 teenagers. I have a 14-year-old 8th grader and I have a 15-year-old 10th grader. And I have 2 very different children. My 14-year-old middle schooler just wants to get the work done. He's far ahead. He's paced out his days, and he knows what to do. My teenage daughter, she does her work as well, but we motivate her in a different way with things like, you can't get your phone until you get your work done, and I need to see what you've done. And it's constant checking in and that accountability that I spoke about earlier. One of the struggles I think that we had in the beginning with my daughter, who's much more extroverted than my son, was recognizing that she could not go to her friend's home, that they could not come to our home. And that was a real bummer for her. But when she found that other parents were on the same page, and this was not something that I made up, that this is what needed to be done. The other thing I'll say for teenagers, coming from the perspective of having taught high school, this is very different for them. They are used to a highly socialized environment. They are used to their teacher being there to guide them every step of the way, and parents, to some degree, being kind of hands off. Give them as many breaks as they need to take. My daughter gets up around 9 and starts working. If I see her around 11 not doing anything, I just ask the question, are you taking a break? It's like, yeah, I'm taking a little break. I got tired. My eyes got tired. If they need to take a nap in the middle of the day, allow them to do that. Just make sure that you are being accountable by checking in with them to make sure that they're getting things done.
Great. Okay, so lots of questions. We'll try and answer as many as we can. So you're welcome to share the slides that that are in the PDF format in the handouts. I had a question about that. You can share those on Facebook or wherever. Please, this information is all there to disseminate as widely as you want to. So please do that. Let's see. My granddaughter is in week 2 of her quarantine and is a great student. Our issue is her lack of social contact causing depression. How do we deal with the fears of genuine sadness?
That is really important. And I think that more and more, not just teenagers, but just people around the country are going to experience some degree of sadness. We're definitely in uncertain times. One of the things I would say is encourage your granddaughter to reach out to her friends. My daughter was not one to do a lot of talking on the phone or video chatting or FaceTiming on the phone. They usually just texted a lot. But what I've seen is that they are meeting up more face-to-face, video calls. They're having those conversations. It's ideal that they'll miss I mean, it's unavoidable, maybe I'll say, that they'll miss their friends. But encourage your granddaughter to do as much as she can to reach out. Have her make the phone call, which is a foreign idea. But sometimes just hearing that friend's voice is an encouragement. One of my daughter's friends actually formed a study group, and they get together every night at 9 o'clock, and they might be studying or they might be talking about something else. But that's a time every night that they know that they'll get together and they'll get to see each other's faces and hear each other's voices. Even though we're socially distancing ourselves, we're not physically in our friends' presence, it's important that we stay in contact. Even as adults, my parents and I check in every day. How are you doing? How's it going? Even though I can't physically be in their presence, it's important to continue that family kind of bond and that friendship bond throughout this time.
Thank you, Winona. That's great advice, and I will echo that. Even as an adult, I don't have kids, but my birthday is Saturday, and so I am setting up a birthday party for myself on Zoom. So
nice.
Gotta roll with it, because we can't be together, but we can try. So I don't think so. Some of your questions we will go ahead and type your answers to in the questions because we are running out of time. But to wrap it up also, Winona, can we move to the next slide real quick?
Sure.
Great. We would love to hear any ideas that you guys have for future webinars as parents or those that work with parents and children. Anything you would like to learn more about that one of our experts that we have at Tutor.com might be able to help you with. We can talk about particular academic subjects if that's helpful. Please feel free. Oh, there we go. That's okay. Please email me with your ideas. So I'm throwing my email address out there as well. Many of you may have it because I've been emailing all of you. And we are not focusing on Tutor.com for this webinar, as we said, but many of you should have access to Tutor.com through either K-12 or the military program. If you don't fall under one of these programs, be sure to check your local library to see if they offer Tutor.com as a resource. And you can actually go to the Tutor.com website and have a free session to try it out as well through our consumer program. So if you have any specific questions about that, please feel free to email us about that as well. So the recording of the webinar will be automatically mailed to you. The handouts will be mailed to you as well. Feel free to share it at will. Winona, do you have any final words?
My advice is self-care. One of the things that my dad always tells me is that it's very difficult to pour from an empty pitcher. And so while we're all stressed and while our kids are looking to us to kind of hold the line during this time, make sure that you take time for yourself, whether that's a walk before everyone gets up in the morning or taking time to read your favorite book or binge Netflix. Take care of yourselves. And then your kids will see that mom's not stressed or dad's not stressed. And so that lets me know everything is going to be okay. You provide a sense of security for them as well. And just know, again, that we're here for you with any questions that you may have as we all navigate this craziness together.